What is going on, Amazon sellers? Happy Saturday and welcome to the live Amazon FBA seller Ask Me Anything. This show is for you. Any question you have, any concern you have, I am here to try to help you any way that I can. And if this is your first time here, my name is Chris Grant. I go by @ClearTheShelf across social media, and I've been doing this for about a decade. And I've also, of course, I've got a tip for you guys today. It'll be a little bit of AI we're going to travel down. But here's how it goes. If you want me to do my job and be able to answer your questions, help you in your business, you've got to bring questions to the chat. So whenever you have them, drop them in there and I will get to them. Hey, David, what is going on? Juan, happy Saturday. You've been pretty consistent with your daily lives. Are you seeing any results? To be quite frank, we're getting a good amount of people that seem to show up here. We get somewhere between, 100 and 150 that seem to show up live on a regular basis. But it's not really turning into more subscribers on YouTube or anything like that. But I don't think I have been doing it long enough. Whenever you do something, whether it's Amazon or something else, you got to really commit to a longer time frame than what you think. And so I would imagine that maybe we start seeing some results at the end of the 90 days. And then that'll help us figure out what we do going forward. Hey, Lynn, what's going on? Joe Seville, glad to see you, man. Appreciate you hopping in here. There's a little piece of news. Hey, Luke, what's going on, man? Good to see you. There was a little piece of news that I shared earlier that I thought was interesting. And I actually, I saw it from a friend of the podcast, Steve. Goes by, what does he go by? His handle is The Village AMZ, Steve French. But I figured I'd share it with you guys. In 2024, retailers ate $103 billion in losses due to fraudulent returns, accounting for about 15% of the projected $685 billion in total returns. And online sales had a total return rate of 24.5%, which is significantly higher than the 8.7% from in-store sales. I thought that number was absolutely crazy, but I thought that you guys might find it a little bit interesting. And then I'll give you another little thing, a good piece of news. All right, a little side benefit of being an Amazon seller. I took the family; they wanted to go to the ball. We needed to do an exchange, not a return, just an exchange for a wrong size, and when we got home, my wife got a phone call and she was asked, "Hey, do you want to go to the Bahamas? I'm going on the 23rd and I'd love for you to come with me." And she's like, "Hey, can I go to the Bahamas?" And I looked at our points and sure enough, boom, off to the Bahamas, no problem. Hotel and flight taken care of. That's one of the real side benefits of having an inventory based business and using credit cards in your business is being able to throw some miles at something without really having to think about it. So if you are not already using miles or you need to figure out how to do it, there's a Points and Miles Academy on School. It's run by my friend Tom. You can join that. I think it's free. But if you want to join the Points and Miles Challenge, you should take a look at that. Tom did 5 days of helping people figure out how to maximize their ability to use credit card points, and it's been fantastic. All right, let me answer a couple of questions here, and then we will pop this into, or we'll go into the tip for today. All right, all right, David, when you are ruling out storefronts to use while using the shotgun method of sourcing, how do you determine if a storefront is wholesale so you don't include them in your seller IDs you put into Keepa? I have been doing less. I've been doing less vetting of the storefronts, and just really going after 50 at a time more than anything. So the easiest way is, try to see if they've got, a bunch of similar or a bunch of the same brand, a bunch of the same products of the same brand. Maybe they've got 5 or 6 different brands that they're carrying rather than 32 or 50 different brands. Now, I have to step that back with someone like Pattern. Of course, they're going to have a ton of brands, but the everyday wholesale seller is probably not going to have 30, 40 different brands. They're going to have 4, 5, maybe 10 that they order from, and that's about it. But other than that, it's I don't even know if it's that big of a deal. Even if they are doing wholesale and you're doing the shotgun method anyway, uh, you might as well just throw them in there. Chances are you might be able to find the products they're selling at a cheaper rate. So, hey, where can I find out how much it will cost to return or recall ASINs to my home from the FBA warehouse? So, bear with me a second. Let me log into Seller Central and I'll see if I can pull that up. Um, Log in here. I don't have that information handy, so you'll have to let me look it up. Sorry. Closing fees. Okay, so if you go into Seller Central, there's a little search bar at the very top of Seller Central. You're going to want to look up FBA removal order fees. And they're going to be anywhere from $1.04 to they can be over $14 if it's more than 10 pounds. But chances are you're mostly going to be looking at somewhere between a buck and 4 cents up to probably $6.36 or so for removals per item. Okay. If it's a standard size and it's more than 2 pounds, you're looking at 289 plus $1.06 per pound over that 2 pounds. If it's large, bulky, extra large, or anything like that, you're looking from 312 to again over that $14. But look up FBA removal order fees, and that will give you a chart that you can take a look at. Name a car for an edit. Uh, my first car was a Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. There you go. Hey, Jeanette, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Jay Tyndall, happy Saturday, Chris. Thanks for hopping on during a Saturday. I'm going to get my first shipment to Amazon together, and I'm wondering if I'm going to need to label each product with a barcode. I would suggest that you do put your FNSKU label on each product. Yes. Okay. If you don't, you'll be doing something called commingling, and it can make your life a little bit more difficult if you go down that path. Oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys would, like and share the content if it's helpful. It really would help grow the channel, and that would mean a ton to me. I don't necessarily do this to get as many followers as possible. I would rather people know me deeply than to be known well across a large range of people. But it doesn't hurt to have a few more folks in here. I appreciate it. Juan, I'm asking because you inspired me to do something similar in areas of my business that I've been lacking at, and I'm starting to see some changes. That's fantastic, man. Yeah, absolutely. So keep at it. You're going to come to this. James Clear calls it the shoot. I'm totally going to wreck the name on this. Oh, it's the Valley of Despair, I believe. Valley of Despair. There we go. So there's this valley of despair you're going to fall into, and No, that's not it either. That's something else. Man, I'll have to find it for you and send it over to you. But keep at it. Whatever you're doing, consistency is the most important thing, and consistency over long term will win uh, more than anything, even if it's just small, consistent steps. Javier, what's going on? Not only do we have the same name, but you might remember I was your 1,000 subscriber. That's crazy. I appreciate that. Joe, in my opinion, returns are seriously the one of, if not the most out of control. Yeah, returns are insane. They really are, and but unfortunately, that is the way that retailers have made it. Do they need to do something else? Yes, they do need to do something. It's probably gone a little too far. The pendulum has swung on returns a little too far. Uh, but I also understand needing to return things, like clothing that doesn't fit, etc. But the fraud and friendly fraud is much, much too big of a number. It is not okay. I mean, we could talk. Is it ethics declining in the U.S.? Is it just that people think that, oh well, it's a massive company and not a small retailer that's eating the cost? I don't know. Kayla, what is your advice purchasing direct from manufacturers? Um, I don't know. I need a little bit more of a. Uh, I need more of a specific question here. I mean, if you can do it, great. Buy directly from manufacturers. That will be fantastic, and hopefully, you can take them down the path of getting, an exclusive directly with the manufacturer if you show them that you're good for their business. Uh, but I need something a little bit more of specific question there. And the follow up question to that is, have you ever bought a foreign product not on Amazon? For example, a popular Thailand brand that isn't even yet on Amazon. I have not. I try to stay away from foreign brands that are maybe not sold here in the US quite yet, or cannot be found at other retailers in the US, because I don't want to be the test case for it being something that is either illegal to be sold in the US or has some other issue. Yeah, and Luke makes a good point here. Removals cost the same as disposal, so you might as well bring that stuff home and get it out. Try to get it sold. I prefer, rather than pulling it back, trying to sell it even at a loss, because if you're not careful with the cost of returns nowadays, you can get to the point where you're throwing good money after bad to bring it back. And sometimes it may be best just try to sell through the inventory even at a loss. Jameson, hey Chris, just letting you know I sent you a DM. Yep, I'll get to it, I promise. How about when we recall our stranded inventory, makes a removal order for 15 units, and Amazon cancels the removal of 4, removed 11, and mark? Yeah, that's frustrating. You're gonna have to open a case for that and see what the heck is going on. Hey, Syed, glad to have you here. Is there a particular FNSKU label Rolo compatible that you recommend? I would look at the brand Betkey. I believe it's Betckey. That one is a pretty solid. Um, that one is a pretty solid brand. And Chris, thank you. I was thinking of the Valley of Disappointment, expecting results quickly but not seeing them. That's exactly what I was talking about. I was blanking on it. I apologize. But yeah, if you don't go read Atomic Habits, which, like Chris said, it's a great time of year to read or reread Atomic Habits. James Clear, of course, he needs a few more dollars in his pocket from royalties, but also just a fantastic book. And if nothing else, go out and look at look up Valley of Disappointment and learn that graph. It'll be very, very helpful. Returns are probably the number 2 reason beside fast shipping. My item sells 50 times a month on Amazon and 5 times a month on eBay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Being able to have easy returns and fast shipping are two of the most important things to buyers. What are the precautions, Syed? What are the precautions while purchasing from a brand website directly for OA? I feel afraid as compared to big box stores. I'm not too afraid buying directly from brand websites. The only thing you might need to worry about is they might be a little quicker on the banning trigger, or maybe they are going to limit you a little bit faster than say a Walmart does. But buying directly from the brand doesn't scare me at all. Matter of fact, one of the leads we shared here very recently was directly from the brand. Any conferences you'd recommend sellers attending? Yeah, there are a couple. One, if you want to go to ASD, it's good to get out to a trade show, and there are going to be a ton of Amazon sellers there. I know that I sort of trashed ASD the other day, and I didn't mean to. You can make contacts with brands and suppliers, but outside of that, you're going to be able to network with a ton of sellers because everyone and their brother goes there. So ASD is a good one to go to. Don't go to the one in August. Go to the one in the spring. Going to Vegas in August is sort of like taking a trip to hell for a short time. Uh, I would go to the Miami Sellers Conference. There's going to be a lot of younger sellers there. Going to be a lot of energy in the room. A lot of people doing a big numbers, and it's great for networking. If you can make it to Smart Scouts, AMZ United, that's going to be another one that is really, really good. And those are really the only ones that I know of outside of if you're in Southern Florida. You should go to Wizards of Ecom. They have meetings like almost every single week, and I know they have some events that are a little bit larger every year as well. What softwares do you recommend for a low six-figure seller? Well, it really depends what you need. So it would be a bad idea for me to say, hey, this is what you need as a low six-figure seller. I'll tell you the only things you really need for sure are you need Keepa. That one is, there's no getting around it. Keepa, period. You need some sort of calculator, whichever one you prefer. You can use RevSeller, you can use SellerAmp, whichever one you like, get some sort of calculator. You're going to need some sort of inbound shipping software, some way to keep track of your sales. You could use Boxum or Inventory Lab. You could use Seller Board if you just want to keep track of your sales and you want to use the send to Amazon. But and you need a repricer. Okay. I used to be able to get away without a repricer, but I don't think that is something that's a good idea anymore. If you mean low six figures a year, you might be under that $10,000 a month, which means you could get Aura for $27 a month. You can go over to repricerchallenge.com, go through the mechanics of repricing appropriately, and then you can get a 45-day trial, and you can get it for $27 a month if you sell less than $10,000 a month. But that's really what you need. You can get away with less than $150, $200 a month in software running a business on Amazon. Excuse me. Nikki, FBA, last few months were consistent 10K with around 300 ASINs, Nike, etc. focused. If you were to be at 10K point in your business again, what would be the most efficient way to get to 30 to 50K months? It's going to come down to one thing and one thing only. It's going to be sourcing more. That's all it is. Listen, selling on Amazon really is the midwit meme. Okay. There's the stupid guys on the left who say just source more. There's the Jedi masters on the right that say just source more. And then there's the people in the middle who are like, oh, you got to source and you got to have, you got to have 37 different tools and all of this stuff. You don't. You just are going to need to sit down and source more frequently and get stuff sent in faster if you're holding on to it. That's all you've got to do. Okay. And that's, I don't know. I wish it were harder because it would make my job a little bit easier. It'd be more to talk about. But if you're sitting down and sourcing for an hour a day now, move it to 90 minutes and source a little bit more. And then every single week, try to increase your spend. That's what we're doing right now. Every single week, we're trying to increase the spend just a little bit more, so we see growth continually. Syed, if product prices are the same on the brand website and Walmart, what would you prefer to go with? Whoever is going to allow me to buy how many ever I need or want. Now, I'm pretty much a perpetual test buyer. We're buying 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 or 50 units max of any one product. But I will buy from the brand. I will also buy from Walmart. It doesn't really matter. There are products that I buy directly from the brand website on multiple occasions. Actually, I can think of 6 or 7 that we're buying directly from the brand right now. And some of those we're buying, we've got 40, 50 different SKUs directly from the brand website. So, ooh, Lounger. Yeah, don't use the built-in Amazon repricer. You gotta make sure, go spend some money on the one outside of that. The built-in Amazon repricer is garbage. Absolute garbage. Ah, Corey, I can't believe you don't use a repricer. You need to get a repricer, man. It is time to do that. You're doing too big of numbers not to have a repricer. Absolutely got to do that. I don't care which one you use. I am a fan of Aura. Friends of mine, friends of the show, they do well by me. I've got evidence after evidence after evidence that they reprice up and down, and their AI is good. That's great in my opinion. Grab yourself a repricer. Lounger, do you sell on Walmart? If so, how much compared to Amazon? I have made one sale on Walmart, so I'm pretty much a guru. The volume does seem much lower, but I've only sold some things that have gone restricted over at Amazon, or listed some things that have gone restricted. Volume is lower, but again, I've literally sold one. I've made one sale. Some people are doing incredibly well on Walmart. I just have not figured out yet. I have not spent the time to figure it out yet. Which would you say is more beneficial, RA or OA? Uh, so I wrote a little bit of an op-ed piece in my weekly newsletter about how retail arbitrage needs a renaissance. It is time that retail arbitrage gets the light shown on it that it deserves. Yeah, back when I started retail arbitrage, it was the name of the game. That's what you did. There were all kinds of groups, called people scanner monkeys, and there were, yeah, I mean, people were using Nintendo Power Gloves to put their scanners on them, and all kinds of stuff. Like retail arbitrage was the name of the game. And then, of course, online arbitrage got its day in the sun because, well, we get to sit behind the safety of our keyboard, and it's a whole lot less peoply. But retail arbitrage is fantastic. I don't know that there is one model better than the other. They just have different difficulties in scaling. The difficulty in scaling retail arbitrage is, what do you have available to you in your location, and how many people do you want to manage? If you want to get to 5, 10, 15 million in sales doing retail arbitrage, you're going to need a team. That's just the way it is. Okay. You're at least going to need a team to do some prep for you, if nothing else. We know we've had Steve and Alexa on the show. They're going to be getting on the show again here very soon. They are doing over 3 million with just a husband and a wife and some prep help. But you want to grow much bigger than that. My opinion is you're going to need a little bit more help in the way of a shopper or something like that. Hey, Kisu, what's going on? Luke, I used to have a wristband phone mount when I did use books. Absolutely, those things were the best. Back in my day, you started with a Palm Pilot that you had to download the book catalog to every single day before you went out and scanned books. It was insane. Syed, can we successfully get brand ungating with brand receipts or invoice? Yeah, you should be able to in most cases. Okay. In most cases, an invoice receipt from the brand website directly should work to get you ungated. There's also a lot of sites like Target, Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy that will often work to get you ungated as well. It might be a little bit more difficult these days, but it does still seem doable. Lounger, what's the biggest RA OA style business you've heard of? I know there was a really big toy seller that I think had around 15 employees, forget their name. So we had Jassim on the podcast. They do OA, RA, and wholesale, and they hit I think they hit $100 million in 2024. That's probably the biggest that I'm aware of. I know of a retail arbitrage only business doing around 30 to 40 million dollars a year. I know of a couple of other OA. There's Jeff. He's a OA, no retail arbitrage, some wholesale, doing about $25 million a year. There are some very big sellers doing OA and RA. And Joe Mazan, yeah, retail arbitrage is addictive. And Joe is brand direct and wholesale nowadays. But yeah, retail arbitrage is absolutely addictive. It the ability to theoretically walk into a store, buy a product, list it for sale, and maybe even sell it before you check out is insane. But outside of that, if you're using FBA, the ability to walk into a store or seven in a day and the very next day have those products turned over and on their way to Amazon, the speed at which you can turn inventory around, if done right, is you cannot beat it with OA. You just absolutely can't. Can't beat it with wholesale either. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, I never had a PDA. I was coming in right as they were being phased out in favor of scanning apps. But they were there. They were available. PDAs. I mean, I did have a PDA when I was younger, but I'd be curious the biggest seller on Amazon that doesn't outsource any tasks. Eli comes to mind. Eli Glukowski, friend of the show, friend of mine. We had him on a podcast. Eli's doing $7-8 million a year, and he doesn't really outsource much of anything. He handles most of it himself, other than his prep. I guess that would be considered outsourcing. Um, so Jeff doesn't really outsource everything. Everything is built inside. He does, except, well, he does have a prep center, but they do some prep themselves, but they handle all their returns, all their account health, etc. And he's doing 25 million a year. I've been looking for products for 4 days now, 6 hours each day, but I can't find anything. I'm new at selling on Amazon. What would you recommend me to do? So we talked earlier today uh, about that trough of disappointment. Okay. And you're right in it. Okay. You're going to need to keep slogging through. This is you paying your dues to Amazon. This is your sacrifice to the retail gods, if it were. Uh, So, first of all, if you are going through sales, okay, if you're going through sales or something like that, like you should be able to find something. Number one, you're going to want to make sure that your fees and things like that are being calculated correctly. Okay. Uh, but the other thing is you just got to keep going. If you've looked through 500 products, you're going to need to look through 1,000. And if it's gating that's an issue, you're going to finally come across a brand that you're ungated in, and you're going to want to go wide on that brand. Like, keep at it. You will get there. I mean, without being able to look over your shoulder, I can't tell you something specifically that you're doing wrong, but keep at it. Lounging here, store markdowns always do have the best ceiling for profit margin. I've been in the lazy OA mode for years now. Yeah, absolutely. Markdowns are one of the best ways to pump up margins. Yeah, Joe, I don't know how many people here know what a Palm Pilot is. Vincenzo, if you want to sell in a certain category when doing OA, what's a good approach to take when sourcing for inventory? Um, I mean, if you let's say you want to source tools and home improvement, for example, my opinion would be start with a little storefront stalking. Okay. Use that shotgun method that we've talked about. Go find a couple of products in the tools and home improvement category, pull up all the sellers on those listings, and then start going through their catalogs, doing Google searches and finding out where they're buying them. Okay. It's going to be pretty easy. They're going to be Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, Do It Best. What else is out there? Acme Tools, et cetera, and so on. And then start looking down some of these specialty tool retailers as you come across those specialty tools on Amazon. And you're going to find some places where there are not a lot of people fishing. But that's probably going to be your best bet to get started in a particular category. What shipping software is recommended? There's two that I would recommend. Number one is Boxum. Number two is Inventory Lab. Those are going to be the two that you're probably going to want to use for inbound shipping, if that's what you mean. If you mean FBM shipping or merchant fulfilled shipping, I would suggest using Veeqo, Veeqo. And Lounging Girl, yeah, back in my day, Keepa charts were on paper. That's absolutely right. Hey, Christian, what is going on? Christian, I learned a lot from Perry Coughlin during our coaching session, which I won. That's fantastic. Yeah, Kim and Perry are geniuses when it comes to processes, prep, and things like that. And they are good business people. Hey, Dre, what's up? Yeah, Dre shares here. Grocery is an easy ungate, and you can find profitable goods there. Grocery is easy. You can. Man, you can use wholesale or Frontier Co-op, they're wholesale, and you can get ungated there. All right. All right, guys, we're a little over our 30 minutes. I didn't get to my tip for today. Oh, shoot, we got one more question here. Many distributors ask about a website. This is Abu Bakar. Many distributors ask about a website, how to get around this issue. Make a website, man. It's 2024. You can go out and you can go to a bunch of places and have a website up like that. That should not be something that keeps you back or holds you back from anything. Matter of fact, you can use bear with me here, not Squarespace, not Wix. You could use something like webflow.com, and there's also what is this called? Card, CARRD.co. It's card.co. That'll build you a one-page website. It's what you need, okay? But building a website or having a website should be no reason to be getting declined in 2024. It's way too easy to have a website up within the next 5 or 10 minutes. All right. All right. Oh, yeah. Go to Fiverr. If you want someone to create it for you, go to Fiverr, go to Upwork. But honestly, with AI tools nowadays, you should be able to have one built like that. You can have the copy written for you. You can have images created. Like it's too easy in 2024. All right. All right, guys. That's our 30 minutes or 2025. Thank you. That's our 30 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. We'll do this all over again, and I will share with you the AI tip I was going to share today. But have a great Saturday night, everybody, and I hope your sales go to the moon. I'll see you on Sunday.